Good afternoon, everyone. This is my Sabbath day, so happy Sabbath, everyone. Happy Sabbath once more. It's my first time to be here, and I want to express gratitude in front of the nation to Jagero, who took time to call me and to invite me here. I am typically what you would refer to as nondescript. Nondescript means I am unknown, I have no title nationally. I've only come to talk to you as a brother would to a sister. And let me begin by asking all of you just a simple question. How many have read this bill? This that we are talking about? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can say less than a quarter, no? All right. In every single society that we have ever had on this earth, we have something called the idea of government. And it is implanted in men's heads and ideas. Because consent for every government derives its consent from the people. If I can just give you a brief example. Nebuchadnezzar, who ruled one of the biggest kingdoms in this world, got his power from Nabopolassar. Nabopolassar, Esarhaddon, Sennacherib, Sargon, the troops. And so with every single government that came after that. But one thing we have seen from governments is when power resided in a monarch, people said it was too much because rulers could rule with arbitrariness. So what did we do? We created 3 arms of government. We said, let's go to have an executive, a legislature, judiciary. Right? Feel free to agree with me. Now, when we did that, we noticed the executive has too much power. So let's move it to the legislature. When the legislature had too much power, we said, let's move it to the judiciary as another check and balance. Now, every single person who has come here has only told you that the government does bad things. The government is a bad animal. It is going to torture you. It is going to ruin your life. And perhaps to some degree, we all agree that we have experienced some unfairness and injuries from the government, yes? So that any person who would stand here to say anything that remotely looks like you're supporting government automatically becomes an enemy. Is that a fair statement to say? Fair statement to say. But there are people who we have now noticed have developed a new ideology. And this ideology is that you do not have a right to be wrong. You do not have a right to be wrong if the general consensus is we have called something bad. So, the same people will tell you we have freedom of speech. But our constitution does not say we have freedom of speech. We have qualified speech. Because you cannot have hate speech. But don't people hate each other? Right? So we don't have freedom of speech. So that is the context on which we rotate around. You don't start from the law. You start from what we agreed in the constitution itself. Let me tell you something else. Have you ever noticed the people who are always attacking, ask any one of them one law that they have developed in response to the bad one? None. Zilch. I wasn't referring to you personally, so don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry. None. Or if someone says that something is bad, and I'm not necessarily talking about this, I'm leading into something. Or if they say something is bad, the primary concern is not necessarily to guide civility. It is to show you the badness and most likely to ascend to power using the defense. Tell me if I'm wrong. Right? How many people are here claiming ascendancy to power? All right. So, if you look at what the bill that is under contention, the Amendment Act, I talked to the MP himself because I have a right to form personal judgment and to be wrong about the judgment. And this is something I'm asking each and every one of you. Wouldn't you want to live in a society where we can challenge each other on ideas and I can also be wrong publicly and be corrected, instead of we have a general consensus that we don't know where it comes from? That general consensus is what determines what the public has accepted to be true or wrong. Now, the government has checks and balances, but that society does not. They set the agenda, they enforce the agenda, and they are never wrong. Ever. You will never see them apologizing when they have made an error. All right? Look at this bill. I asked Dawood, what did you want to say? He told me the following things. I wanted to put a stop to organized cyber crime. The initial comments on social media was, if you comment on Twitter, you'll be given a 20 million fine. Is it true? That is what we call patently false. We also decided last year that we will suspend data protection. Because we disagree with MPs, there is nothing called innocent till proven guilty. We will post your personal information as vengeance. What that typically means is we have created our own ideology of rule of law by people who we will never see. So that if there is a day where you will claim innocent till proven guilty, it will not work. That is the ideology which I am telling you today that is being permeated by this thing that has created itself outside government. Okay? Let's go to something else. And that is primarily doxing, which we all agreed we can do. And not a single person who was opposing this thing came and said, you cannot post people's children. What if they were yours? You cannot post someone where they live. You cannot touch something. You cannot become the very evil that you hate. How then will you stop it? If we all decided to become evil, who will be the good one? Let me also conclude by saying the following. Now that we have moved power, we have changed what it means to have rule of law. We have decided that on a whim, on caprice of someone, let us have the judiciary interpret for us. And now I want you to look at it. Think with me. Now that we are moving power directly to the judiciary, what are we essentially saying? Let the judiciary be the lawmaking institution. Okay? Let the judiciary be the what? Lawmaking institution. But does the judiciary make mistakes? It does. And most of the times, because of the ideology in which it subscribes to. So the judiciary is not infallible. Because what I have seen is that we have something called infallible ignorance. I heard here someone say there was no public participation, yet I counted 32 institutions in writing, including the Law Society of Kenya, of which I'm a member of, that submitted memoranda. Isn't that what we call patently false? Isn't that what we call patently false? Yes. So I am challenging you as a citizen. Perhaps the government is bad, but there is equally another nefarious ideology that we have another system of government that is not accountable to anyone. It is not accountable to you. It sets the agenda somewhere else. And that agenda you must subscribe. So, hate or love the bill, but please do not disinform the citizens. And even if I am alone, let me finish by saying, I know Mundalo is up. I'll finish. Anyone who has an honest belief in what they think and believe and has forced people to the disagreeable task of reevaluating their own assumptions will always end up being fought, yeah, or experiencing a lot of rage. Have you seen that? Anyone who has remotely supported is an automatic enemy, despite who you are. Lastly, if you cannot refute the argument of a person who has a contrary idea to you, then you must be prepared to experience rage. So I ask all of you, have you exercised your private judgment in exercising this exercise? Thank you.
All right, people of the internet, I hope that you're enjoying this episode very much. And I just had a break to tell you about my new book. You know, everybody says that there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their town, in their city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call brothers, but there are no jobs. Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world and there is no one to do them except you. I work for Americans myself. I work for Europeans. I work for the Chinese. I work for the Australians. I work for the Canadians. And so, because I have done so much for myself, I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a digital book called Goldmine 18 Hustles for Africans. And then in 2025, AI came. People say AI is taking away our jobs. And for me, I'm going to say false. There are actually AI jobs. Jobs are not being taken by AI, but there are new jobs online that are there because of AI. Now, mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. And for now, in my new book, we have 25 online and offline jobs that you can leverage on if you do not have a job. So in this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I've made and lessons I've learned over the 15 years that I have worked online. So what can you do online? You can become an executive assistant for busy folks in Europe, America, Canada, and get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. Okay? You can build a lot of things. Build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce shop without capital, be an affiliate marketer, or you can also become actually an English tutor and tens of AI jobs. If you have a job, that is fine. But I also know that you can buy this book for that brother, for that sister, for that mother, for that cousin, for that husband who is watching Netflix all day at home. Buy it for your friend who is always asking for cash. You know that friend. Now, all the information is on the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or go to my website, which is odworjegero.co.ke.